About the word. Okay, Black Panther. Yes, I love that guy. Okay. Adventure. Very good, Taylor. Thank you. What about the other one? So that's absolutely correct. Adventure. Adventure. Yes, I think the other one is a bit harder and it was intentional. So just look at it and you see that it should form. Okay, so a clue is that the first alphabet is this one in green. So it starts with letter L. The same way adventure starts with A. So just look at it and tell me what you see. It's not supposed to be hard, you know? Ah, okay. If I tell you the answer, everybody on this call will donate $1 and give it to me at the end of this this session. Okay. While we are looking at that, I said on Scrabble this word. Okay. Yeah, leadership. Thank you so much, Ibu Kumoluwa, leadership. So we have adventure and we have leadership. We have adventure and we have leadership. There's a reason why I chose these two words. Really because the journey at leadership is why we are gathered here today. And the journey of leadership, it's an adventure because there's the ups, there's the down, and there's the continuity that comes with it. You keep learning on the journey of leadership. And I believe that, just by merely listening to Mr. Dio, we know that leadership is not, it's not talking about the concept of a position or becoming something. It's really about us. It starts with us as individuals. So looking at all of these superheroes, there's a myth that people say about superhero. What are those myths or truths that you've heard about superheroes? I'll just share so that you can also, put in the chat box. So when people think about superheroes, we are thinking about, what people that will save the world, they appear on the scene and there's solution to every kind of problems, the way we see Spider-Man, there's a problem, there's a fire problem somewhere, and Spider-Man or Captain America just shows up on the scene and boom, everything is sorted. One of the myths is that superheroes are the fixers. They are the only one that do stuff. The truth is we, even as we are young change makers, creating solutions in our communities and all of that, we do not work alone. We do not work alone. And that connects us to what we are talking about together, which is the power of strong communities. The power of strong communities. So what is a community? What is a community? Just by thinking about the literal English meaning of community is also what we are saying here, but it's just now looking at what it means in different social constructs. So community is just a group of individuals and or shared value because they have similar interests, because they want to work together. So there must be a common value that has brought us together. There must be a common value that has brought us together. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Everything froze for a while, so I wasn't sure. So communities, when we think about community, we think about a particular, value that is bringing us together. For example, we are here discussing around a particular thing, around leadership, around development, there's a commonality in our interests. There's a commonality in our interests, and that's why we're here together. So that value is what then determines the kind of things that we are going to be doing in this community. Hear me? MTN is deciding to play a trick on us. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're audible now.
Okay, thank you so much. So that's the meaning so when we think about community, I want us to think in that light. It's nothing too deep. It's coming together for a particular common value and interest. And I would also like to establish the fact that, when you find the right communities are essentially bridges. They help you to build bridges between where you are now and where you want to get to. The right kind of communities are bridges. And I think Uncle Dai also alluded to this fact that, when you join, a network or a fellowship, it's really very much about the people that you meet there. It's about the kind of leverage that you now have because you belong to that community. And community can be online. I mean, we're now in the era of this generation is able to leverage on the power of technology very, very, very well. So we have communities that are not even physical. They are not in a geographic location. They are in the cloud, that is online. It could be on Instagram. It could be on any of the social media apps, but it's just that we are gathered together for a common purpose. It also then helps you to know that if you're in a place where it is everything that goes, how can you really categorize that community? So the right community are bridges. They help you to, get to where you want to go, So when we're saying this, we'll also get to talk more on this, in the next few slides. But I would also like to connect this to what was said earlier by the previous speaker, that if you don't know where you are now, which also talk about when he was talking about self-awareness, you must be able to reflect on where you are now and what does success mean to you. Don't let me jump ahead of myself. So it also then touch on why we need to be part of communities, because we might be talking about this and people are thinking,
your screen isn't showing.
Oh, okay. Let me disconnect and try to share it again. Is it showing now?
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. So why do we need to be part of communities? Why do we need to be part of communities? The first thing I would like to highlight is communities provide their support network. They are support network. They provide practical support during tough times, and even beyond or outside of tough time. Life is already tough. Many of us would agree that life is by default. It's a marathon. It's tough. You cannot just exist and expect everything to be fine. Naturally, things like to go in the wrong direction. There's disorderliness, there's chaos everywhere. So for you to even get your things together, you need, that support. That is even beyond. Many of us are lucky to be from homes or families that provide very strong support, but you need support for your career, professionally, and so on. So communities, the right kind of community, provide support for us. They also provide shared knowledge. So these are places where you can pool resources. So we've learned, we know that no man is an island, no matter how, as you continue to grow as an individual, as a leader, the more you see the things that you don't know. So there are always going to be people that have gone ahead of us. There are always going to be people that know more than we know. And beyond knowledge, there are always going to be people that are more connected than we are. There was a time I heard a particular thing that was said, that there's nobody you want to connect to in this world. All you need is, you have just 7 steps away from them. So, for example, Mr. Dayo knows somebody that can connect you to somebody, and that person can connect you to somebody that will maybe eventually link you to the person you want to meet. So think about the likes of, who are those top guys, Bill Gates or this. And sometimes it's not even up to 7 steps. But that particular code said that you can't pass 7 steps before you get to anybody. So again, this talks about the power of the communities that we belong to. You would have also heard so much that your net worth is not just in terms of the money that you have, the financial or material resources that you have. It's really, your worth is really in the terms of the relationships that you have in your life. Okay. The number 3 thing, the reason why we need to be part of a community is that also for your well-being. Life is tough, like I said, for your mental health, places where they can understand what you're going through. For example, if you're a social change maker, you are building an NGO in Africa, or you are building a social impact business in Africa, there are communities for those kind of people, because your problem is unique. The kind of problems that you face are unique. So when you are plugged to such a community where they talk about these kind of things, then you know that you're not alone. You can be encouraged and all of that. Last thing I would like to mention also is that community, there are economic benefits to also being part of the community. For example, if you are an alumni of a fellowship, using Mandela Washington Fellowship as an example, there are some funding that are just for members of that community. So that also, in case, all of these things, all of the other reasons are not they're not convincing enough for you, I think the economic benefits is also worth, considering, why you need to actively look for communities that would nurture your vision, that will nurture the kind of things that you want to build. I will just quickly go into how we can find the right community, The first thing I highlighted here is that starts with vision. This also touched on what we had said earlier, that, there's this popular TED Talk that is titled Start With Why. And I think it's so important, and that's one of the very philosophy, or that's one of my mental model when doing anything. That, why do I want to do this thing that I want to do? Why So if you don't understand yourself so much, and that's why I really love when you were talking about self-awareness, if you don't really know about yourself, the vision, what you want to do, what does success in life look like to you, what problem do you want to address? Why? If you don't answer all of those questions clearly or to a large extent, because I also believe that clarity comes on the journey. So, but there must be some basic answers in your heart. There must be that thing, that quest in your heart that then guide you to, when you have that hunger in your heart, when you know that thing that you are looking for, it just naturally propel you to different community. It's like, they said, it's like an invisible magnet that just attracts you to the right places. So you must know what exactly you want success, because success can be anything. For some people it's fame, for some people it's in the education system, for some people it's about building, kind of business and all of that. So you must start with vision. And these questions will help us. What will the end look like? What will the end look like? What will success look like for you? What problem are you willing to address? For someone like me, I am extremely passionate about education, creating access to young people that don't have access to education and learning opportunities. So definitely, when I see places, when I see a group of, a community of people that are doing the same thing, that are, a community of people, maybe young change makers that are working on education problems, I will be attracted to such community. I will not go and, no matter how much they market, let them market it. The way Temu is currently marketing in Nigeria, and everywhere you go, you're saying Temu here, Temu there. No matter how much they market certain community, I could never join. I can never join, knowing this will also protect us from pressure. It will protect us from, the fear of missing out. Because as young people, they say that time is a value. Time is one of our biggest resources, right? I would also like to add that time, energy, and your attention, they are your three of your, they are three of your top resource that you have to guide it jealously. So your attention, because you know that whatever you pay attention to, attention is like a currency. Whatever you pay attention to, you are indirectly nurturing that thing and it will grow. Also, your energy. Our energy is finite. It's not unlimited. We have very limited energy and attention and time. So when you start with this question of vision, it then helps you to define your scope, because we all cannot be everything, right? So you have your life scope. When you enter, they carry you and drop you in a ball, in a big, large space full of opportunities. You will know what you are looking for, So the number 4 question is really around legacy. What legacy do you want to leave? We're saying the other time that what do you want to be known for? Why am I here? What problem have I been called here to solve? So these are key things that we must know, that will then help us to identify and find the kind of community that we should belong to. So very quickly, I will move on to the next one. So when you know that, you know your why, you know your what, then you need to also answer the question of the tools that you need. What tools do I need in life? What tools do I need in life? So when you know your words, and by doing that, you would also be able to do like a personal SWOT, analysis. You know your strengths, you know your weakness, you know the opportunities that are before you, and you know the threats. You know where you are currently, and you have to be very sincere with yourself. Okay, so I want to become, as an example, because I'm very passionate about education and I want to solve the problem of out of school children in Nigeria. The numbers just keep growing by the years. So, and I know that to be able to do that, I will need to sit at the helm of policies. We need to be part of those top people making the policy. Oh, okay. So maybe because of that, I want to become, say that there's a position that I would like, an office that I would like to sit, So analyzing where I am now, the kind of knowledge that I have, can it take me there? The kind of connection that I have, can it lead me there? If I continue to live my life the way I'm living it now, with +1 effort, will it get me there? What are those tools that I need to get an exponential increase from where I am now, to where I want to be? So you need to also answer these questions. I really like this quote that do not wait to strike till the iron is hot, but you make it hot by striking it. So this really talk about intentionality. So what gaps exist between your skills and the skills that you need, for your end result. So doing this, answering this question would also help you to know that peradventure, this community, because this is a community as well, the Matador Leadership Institute. So they are here now, the number of us on this call today, so let's say we're in a physical room together, we're in the physical space, and after this event, we are networking, so by the time you also know what tool you have, you will know the kind of request to make of people. I've heard stories of people that are meeting, top business leaders at airports, they're in the same lounge together, just for a few minutes and all of that. They have the opportunity to shoot their shots, to make a pitch, but they don't know what to ask. They don't, so that's a case of opportunity meeting us unprepared. So the next thing you need to also answer is, whose help do I need on this journey? Whose help do I need on this journey? So when you answer this question as well, it will then help you to, it also, like, they are questions that you sit and you reflect on, they are not essentially, very theoretical or mathematical things. They're just a point of reflection. So if I want to become X, Y, and Z, who are the kind of people I need in my life? So if I'm saying I want to be, in decision-making seats, if I want to be part of the people talking about policy and all of that, I then know that I need people that are skilled in politics. I need people with political savvy in my life. I will not just sit in community. So the kind of community, I will not just be plugging myself in religious community alone. Because sometimes many of us, we are very, we see things with one lens, we're not so broad-minded. So by the time I know the category, I can clearly say these are the kind of people I need. It will also help me to know if I need to join groups like, young people's group that have that political and professional vibe, together. There are such example. If you know anyone, you can put it in the chat box. Or I need those that are just very nerdy, very that talks about numbers, that are business guys. Should I join startup communities, and all of those things? So you need to know the people that share your vision and your values. You need to know the kind of people that, share your vision and your value, and people that have the skills and expertise that you lack. So, for example, I remember back then in uni days, there's this group of people that they are always looking very, very serious. They have very clear mindset around what the future, what career would look to them, when many of us are still trying to figure out things and all of that. So people that belong to JCI, I don't know, did any one of us do JCI when we were in university? JCI or ISEC or Rotary Club? You know, if you were part of such a group in the university days, please let's see it in the chat box. Somebody said, what is SWOT again? SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. I could touch on that at the end of this session again. So you would see that there's a when I began to interact with people in such space, there's a difference it brought to my life. There's a way, because some of us were very religious or spiritual, you know, at some point in our life, that everything we do is just about spirituality. It's just, you know, a triangle: church or mosque to your class, to your hostel, or to your house, you know, and some are still living their adult life like that. You know, but if you are able to answer this question, then you know the kind of people, community that don't necessarily negate your life values that you can plug yourself into. So very quickly, this time. So top 5. The top 5 of building and benefiting from strong community. I've talked about, or even the things that I've talked about common purpose. But I would really like to just touch on some practical things that help you to really benefit from strong communities, from communities. So I see a lot of young people now that are volunteering, which is really great. People are getting more conscious of becoming an active problem solver, to become exercising their civic rights in the community. So the one trend that I've also noticed is that people join a lot of organizations as volunteers, volunteering here, volunteering there, volunteering there, and they are not active. They join all sort of communities, and because they have stretched themselves so thin, you have spread yourself everywhere, then it becomes difficult for them to be active in those communities. And I would like to see how many of us on this call are part of more than 5 communities. And when I say 5 community, I'm also talking about your church community, or your, you know, by the virtue of any kind of religion that you practice, the community you belong to there. Your school, if you're still a student, what communities do you belong there? Your career, you know, your organization, you know. So I just want to see numbers. What number of that you can remember right now on top of your head? How many communities do you belong to? 4 communities. 4 communities. That's a good number. I'm waiting for others to put their 4 communities. Do you think that somebody that is part of, you know, there are some very big known community. You have JCI, we're going to say that people that belong to all of those big organizations, you're volunteering here, you're volunteering there. I mean, just thinking about it alone, you know that, like we said initially, there are three of your key resources is time, energy, and attention. You know, you will not be able to spread all of those things around. So being part of, when you have found a community and you have joined a community, you must be active parts of that community, active participation. Or they are organizing training, you know, especially because you join that community because it aligns with your life goal, right? So why would you be there and you're not doing anything? You're just sitting, you know. They are looking for members. They don't know you. Like they will meet you, your members will meet you
anywhere in town or something, they cannot identify you. So when opportunity comes to that community, they will not think about you. They will not think about sending it to you. So you must be an active participant in any community that you belong to. And this would be in even contesting for election, to be part of the leadership, or even just sharing values with other people. Number three, communicating, just communicating. Oh, they have something that they're saying. And right now, in this age of social media, it has made things really easy for us. So many of the communities have online presence. We're on WhatsApp group, we're here, we're there. Chats, let them know you, let them know you. Don't be, you cannot, I saw something recently that you are not putting to the level in your life for you to be able to afford not being visible, for you to be able to have. That's not how they said it, but I feel like how they said it, I don't essentially totally agree with that. The person was like, you are too broke to not be visible. So, but beyond the finance, you need a certain level of influence to create the kind of change you want to see. I believe everybody on this call, we are really motivated people, we're ambitious people that want to see big change in the world, and we want to be an active part of that change. So you need to be active in any group that you belong to. If the group is not serving you, please leave. Please leave. Number four is inclusivity and diversity. You also want to see that, the community that you are either part of building or a community that you're already part of or that you're joining, it's a community that allows for diversity, that all of you are not just, there's an adage in Yoruba, I will try to say it in English, that everybody in that community, they are not sleeping and putting their head in one corner. You're not all thinking the same way. You're not all, there's no diversity of thoughts. There's no diversity of ideas. There's nobody to challenge you in your brilliance, in your intelligence, So we want to make sure that we have people that are very creative and think in different ways from us. Then the fifth one is supportive relationship. And all of these things that we have mentioned, it's not, so communities they're about give and take. They're about give and take. So you cannot just be taking and taking and taking as part of a community. You must also think about how you are bringing value to that community. You must. So it's they say value is one of the biggest currency that help us to earn. That it's one of our biggest earning power. It's with values that you can earn money, that you can earn respect, you can earn influence from people and all of that. So you must be a huge part of creating supportive relationship in that network. So I'd like to end on that. Okay, so these are some examples of communities that we should belong to as young African leaders. So there is Mandela Washington Fellowship, one of the biggest communities for young African leaders in Africa, African leaders in Africa. So I want to believe everybody on this call knows about Mandela Washington Fellowship. If you don't know, if you know about Mandela Washington Fellowship, please let me see in the chat or just look at the screen. How many of this group do you know? And this is just like a 0.0001 fraction of amazing communities out there, strong communities out there. So how many of these communities do you know? I think at this point, I would even like to hear our voices. How many of these communities do you know? Have you benefited from any one of them? Okay. Yes. JCI, same JCI. And I can tell you, many of these communities here, I've interacted with them in one way or the other, and I can attest to their efficiency. Okay. Does anybody want to share? Onifade, please, do you want to tell us what you have done with JCI? Do you think they're a strong community? As a young African leader, what are the things that you think we can benefit from JCI? Please, you have the floor.
All right, thank you, ma. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, ma. So JCI, I just know about JCI on campus. I've not joined the community, and I have some friends there that are doing so well, actually.
That's okay. So if you are someone on this call that you are still in university, either for masters or undergraduate, it is important that you join communities, either JCI, ISEC, Rotary, or professional communities. You must be part of communities. Taylor, you can say you have the floor. I continue.
Thank you very much, Ma. Good evening. I know two communities here. That's JCI and Rotary Club. Yes. JCI from campus. It's a very popular community on campus. Plus, I actually have some classmates that actually are members of the community. Then, Rotary Club would be back when I was still in secondary school. There used to be this road we used to pass to secondary school, and there was this very big I I think that was their base in Ibadan. There was this very big plot of land with with the gates, the Rotary sign on the gate and everything. So that was where I knew Rotary Club from.
Thank you so much for citing that example. And it's so interesting to see that, I like to tell people that, because people come with a lot of barriers. Oh, I don't think I have this society or community that can support my vision, all of that. So every stages of life, even for people that are old, Rotary even have that structure. They have from secondary school to university till like a young professional till even you're adult, like old age and all of that. So there is, no matter the idea that you have, no matter where you live, no matter your kind of personality, there are strong communities out there that are aligned. So we need to do the work of finding them. I remember when I was in school, I used to have this mindset around JCI and Rotary that they are just a bunch of unserious, or people. At some point, I also started thinking that they're demanding too much, because there's a way they require their members to dress. You must appear corporate. You must be professional. There are ethics that guide them and all of that. But looking back, even before I left school, I then had a roommate at some point that was a member. I had one that was a member of Rotary and another one that was JCI. When I saw how their life is different, I saw the kind of opportunities that they have access to. Like right from uni days, right from school, they were already having international opportunities. First, with traveling around Nigeria for this conference, for that conference, I saw how they were learning how to present, how they were very serious, very, and I started seeing that, and I was like, these people are doing something right though. There's something different about these people. There was a way that right from a very young and early on, they have this mindset around opportunities. They know how to find the right opportunities. So that's why you see that it's the same set of people. Once you get to a community, you see that after a while, it's the same set of people that are getting the same opportunity. It's because being part of that community, they share opportunity within that community. They get access. Information is key. Information is powerful, and being in the right community will give us access to those things. So it's so important that we must be part of the right community, So there are more communities, yes. Some of these communities are based on application. For example, Mandela Washington Fellowship, you need to apply. If they do not select you, apply again. Keep applying until you enter, because it's such a transformative community. I've met some of the best people in my life, through that platform. JCI as well. very transformative, and you know, the right value, the right connections and all of that. Leap Africa, they have like that's for people that are building social businesses. ISEC, I think ISEC as well is similar to JCI and the rest in university, and so on and so forth. Ashoka Changemaker, they have for even teenagers. So if you have for me, that's one of the key things I do with every young person around me from a young age, helping them to just know how to find the right community to belong to. Because I feel like that's one of the very thing that then begin to define, you know, the trajectory of our life as we continue to grow up. So if there's any other community that you know that is very, very great, that is not on the screen, please put it in the chat box so that we can all learn from that. We can find them and join them. You would also notice that these communities here, they are very general. There's some communities that are peculiar to certain sectors of certain regions. So I would like to end on this note, you know, with this very popular African quote or proverb that says that if you want to go fast, you can consider going alone. But if you want to go far in life, you would be going with others. We'll be going with others. So if you have any question, any contribution, this is the time for us to talk about them. Any question, any comment?
Where is Ibukun? Onifade, you guys, I think it's time for you to ask questions. Odwaya, that was very beautiful. Thank you so much. That was beautiful and detailed. Thank you so much for that session. I learned a lot, anyways. You did not say anything. Me, I'm saying my own. And that was beautiful. And it was simple. So that's probably the better side of the presentation. It was not just good, it was very simple as well and relatable. I'm of the opinion that you can't run, like you can't be in the school for 4 years and then you're saying to yourself that the only thing you want to do is to be going to class and then of course probably going to fellowship or mosque. That's like wasting that whole period or whole phase of one's life. Because I always tell people, interestingly, I'd probably got into this knowledge since I was in the university. Like the certificates that you'll get from the university can be good enough to get you a job. It won't even guarantee promotion. But the relationships you make can last you a lifetime, depending on how you manage them, how well you manage them. So yes, thank you for stressing the need for us to have to be in thriving communities, good communities, because there are communities that that are also for the negative. So, but for the good communities. And thank you so much. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the beautiful, detailed presentation. So, do we have any other contribution or questions from anybody? I'm surprised Ibukunlu is not saying anything.
So Onifade has sung up.
Okay, Onifade.
All right. Thank you, sir. My question is that how do you get to manage joining different communities on campus? Because I know of some people that they are in so many communities on campus, like more than 8. But how do you get to know how productive they are? Like for me, joining different communities on campus without being productive or active in any of them is just wasting of time. How do I get to how will I put how do I get to know my input in those communities?
Okay. That's a very good question. And you remember I mentioned that um, again, three of our key assets as human being is time, attention, and energy. And these three things, they are not endless, they are not infinite. So you want to be able to manage them well to achieve your life goals. You know, you should not join every kind of community out there. So many of these communities, some of them are similar. For example, JCI and Rotaract, the two of them are quite similar and they are both demanding. So I would not expect that somebody is a member of JCI and you're also a member of Rotaract. You have to, you remember what we're saying, that starting with why, start with your vision. So when you do your self-awareness, you conduct a self-awareness, you're understanding yourself very well, and you know your vision very well, then it helps you to choose which of these two, or even which of these three to belong to. So we can parallel JCI, Rotaract, and ISEC as an example, because the three of them are a bit similar and also demanding, and it will also give you access to this same kind of opportunities, but they have their own uniqueness, right? So you need to do your self-awareness thing and know. I like to be very practical. Using myself as an example, rather, there are some values. There's a way Rotary is designed, especially where I grew up, in my state, even in Nigeria. You would also see that it's different. If you are in Ikoyi, the way Rotary is in Ikoyi is different from the way it is in Isola, correct? It's different from the way it is in Ibadan. So the kind of Rotary I was seeing growing up in my state demand a lot of extrovertedness. You have to be social, you have to be this, you have to be that. So knowing myself as an individual, I know that I can't do this, But for some people, that's fine, that's perfect, And also knowing the phase of life that you are in, at some point in my life, I couldn't join JCI. At some point in my life, when I was in the right place, it was right for my journey, and I was in the kind of the particular local chapter was the perfect thing for me at that point. I could join. So you need to be able to understand that group very, very well, then choose. You should not join too much, especially because you're also a student. So I also like to look at myself holistically, but okay, looking at your aspect of your life, your academic is a bucket, your spirituality is another bucket. You already belong to a spiritual group, maybe your church or your mosque. So your academic, you are part of, say, association of biology students or medical something. That one is taken care of. But also, what are those communities that will help you to take care of your finances, that will help you to learn maybe financial knowledge, that will help you to man your professional or personal development, that will help you to learn about relationships if you are that part of your journey. So analyze all the communities that are available to you and see which one will serve you more and which one you can also contribute to more. That's how you choose. And please, at any point you see that this community is not serving you and you are not even able to express yourself or produce value here, exit. Yeah, I hope I answered your question, Onifade. We have Anu Luapo. Please, you have the floor. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Hello.
We can hear you.
Yeah, thanks for the wonderful station, ma'am. So my question is, okay, let me cite an example using myself as a case study. Probably, my kind of communities is tech inclined. So a friend of mine, like a very close friend of mine, now sets up a kind of gender equality advocacy community. But in the line, in the act of me not wanting to derail from my kind of communities, and then I don't want to lose the friendship with that person. You know, not to be like I'm not a supportive friend and no, by not being part of our community. So me now merging both together, being a part of the um tech activities community and still being a part of our that my friends community. Am I getting it right? Am I doing it right? Or should I have to forgo one for one? Do you get the question, ma?
Yes, I did. So what I'm hearing from you is you are part of a tech, or you are tech inclined and you already belong to a tech community. Then a friend of yours, which I believe probably a very close friend of yours, is a gender equality advocate and is building a community, and they want you to join. How do you manage both? I think that, we can look at that with different lenses. And one of the lens is, friendship. If you want to look at it on the friendship lens, if you could just be part of that community because you're supporting your friend. It's not that, it's like supporting my friend's business, for example. So that might be the reason why you're there. That means, but this is letting your friend know ahead of time that I'm just here because, I want to support you. Maybe the numbers are very few. I'm just here to help you with a few things and all of that. This is not really serving my life purpose. It's not really aligned to, my career or anything. And if your friend is somebody that you can be very frank with and, you can support them in another way, not by being in the community. So just let them know. That this, I will not be able to. I won't be able to gain from here, and I won't be able to bring value to this place. And you can support them, from outside as a friend, and all of that. You need to just be very sincere with yourself and. I also expect that, as friends, your friends should know you well enough to say, this thing is not even related to this guy's life journey. So why am I dragging him to come and join us? So that's important. Then I want to mention that because you're a tech person does not mean that it's only a tech community you should be part of. And this is not me saying you should go and join a tech community, right? You want to make sure again that you're not just in a bubble. There are some communities that is general. For example, the Matador Leadership Institute is a community that is growing, right? And a leadership institute will focus on your development, your personal development, your professional development, and that will cut across all sectors. If you cut across all sectors, you need that kind of community that will not just be on tech things alone. For example, I'm an education specialist, I'm a development practitioner. So I will not just belong to, you not just be seeing me in just education group alone, group of Kiniko educators, group of school owners. I run schools as well. You will not just see me in those group alone, because after a while it becomes like it's just an echo. It's the same thing you are hearing, and all of that. So you want to belong into communities that are a bit broader, that can give you more diverse perspective. So that's why those kind of communities we mentioned earlier, they are broader, they are focused on leadership. Leadership is key. Communities that will help you to really harness your personal development and professional development together. So that's important. Because you're a tech person, does not mean that you should stay in tech communities alone. You should have that, but you should also have, the other ones that will help you focus on all aspects, that will help you build all aspects of your life. And sometimes as well, you don't have to be part of a community forever. For example, I told you guys, Mr. Daise, we should share things that we don't share everywhere. I told you guys that at some point in my life, I joined JCI. I was there for, I think, 4 or 5 years. After a while, I knew that my time was up here because I was too busy at that point. I wasn't able to, I think I've served, I've done so much. So, I then exited. So it's important that you also understand your times and your season. Yeah. Did I answer your question? I know Luapo.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am, you did.
Ibukun, are you back now so that I can pass over the mic to you?
No, I'm the one you passed the mic to,
All right, thank you. So, thank you, Mr. Dyer. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Odunayo. Thank you to everyone. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you. Thank you so much. The session continues tomorrow with 2 powerful sessions again tomorrow. The whole idea is learn as much as you can this year. Like learn as if there's no other thing to do. Because I'd rather have too much of information than have less of information. So please let's reach out to our friends. For those that OAU, you guys reach out to yourselves and then try to get yourselves to be on the call. Ocean State University. We'll do like a follow-up email to everybody who registered. And hopefully there's the participation level will be a lot more tomorrow, which is a weekend, which is a Saturday. But for all of you that are on this call, thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you so much. But yes, please let's also make it a date tomorrow. Ibukun Oluwa, Anoluwapo, Mary, Onifade, Testimony Taylor. Please, guys, let's make it a day tomorrow. Thank you for being here till this point. And please let us all say a big thank you to Odunayo. The chat box, please. Let's say a big thank you to her for the amazing session that she had. And then, of course, for the time, thank you. Let's just show her the love that she deserves. Odunayo, thank you again. And thank you again. And thank you again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Odunayo, we'll see in camera after the session. Thank you all. Have a very beautiful, beautiful evening.